A New York barber who defied his state's pandemic lockdown has been diagnosed with coronavirus because, well, of course, right? Now, NBC News is reporting that Ulster County Department of Health and Mental Health announced this week that a publicly unidentified barber in the city of Kingston had contracted coronavirus after weeks of illicitly cutting hair despite orders that he remain closed. Now, the department advised anyone who would receive a haircut at the barbershop to immediately get tested for COVID 19. That, of course, will be somewhat difficult because we still don't have, in a lot of areas, widespread testing. So now, Ulster County Health Commissioner Dr. Carol Smith said, learning that a barbershop has been operating illicitly for weeks with a COVID 19 positive employee is extremely disheartening. As much as we would all like to go out and get a professional haircut, this kind of direct contact has the potential to dramatically spread this virus throughout our community and beyond. And so, look, she's absolutely right about this. Now, I think that there are two types of people here, two types of anti-lockdown people, right? So now there's people that consume right-wing media and think, oh, it's not a big deal. This is overblown. It's fake news. COVID doesn't exist, or it's a 5G conspiracy, whatever, right? The president thinks it's fine. I got hydroxychloroquine. Everything is going to be great. Hashtag freedom. Okay, there's those people, right? So I make fun of those people. But there's also a second category of people in these anti-lockdown protests. And these are business owners, some of whom are legitimately hurting. I think that this guy might be in part of that second category. Now, understand that part of the bailout program, right, that was the CARES Act, right, part of it went to small businesses, not a very large part. In fact, the small business loan program was supposed to help these people weather the shutdown, right? But as we've seen, those funds were gone almost immediately. Gone. In fact, Washington Post comes out with a story earlier today that notes that over 100,000 small businesses have went out of business. They're closed forever, right? And yet, large publicly traded companies had received over $905 million that were meant for small business. Isn't that insane? You had these large corporations that didn't need that money dipping into that money. How many of those small businesses could have been saved had that money, that $905 million, almost $1 billion, go to their business? How many? And so that's the problem. So many small businesses were left out because big business went and scooped up that money. And then they went out of business. So now, that's not to add in, of course, the trillions of dollars in just corporate bailouts. But that's the problem. Our government, under the Republicans and under corporate Democrats, they prioritize big corporations and banks and used coronavirus to perform an upward transfer of wealth to the top 1%. These were the biggest robbery from the American taxpayer that I have ever seen in American history. Gigantic. I believe they intentionally gave very little to small businesses and workers in order to, of course, get them to go back to work as soon as possible. And guess what? This is a result. That this guy has coronavirus, and who knows how long he's been spreading it to others. That's unfortunate. And that's a situation that could have been avoided. Here's another situation that could have been avoided. Carl Mank. So now Carl Mank is a barber in Owosso, Michigan, right? So now he is right now a darling of the right wing. He's been on Fox and Friends. And he says, I'm not going to close down my business. No. I'm going to continue cutting hair in defiance of Governor Gretchen Whitmer's shutdown. Now, according to the New York Times, Mr. Mank says he initially closed his business Karl Mank's barber and beauty shop in March, but reopened in May as he grew increasingly concerned about bills piling up. He says he wears a mask and recommends it, but does not require it for his customers. I wonder who those customers are. I think we all know. So now, look, the state of Michigan is going after him aggressively. They suspended his business licenses. Here you have Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel saying this in a statement on Wednesday. Mr. Mank's actions in violating Governor Whitmer's executive orders, as well as other health orders, put the public at risk for contracting COVID-19. Anytime you have a barber or other professional providing services to numerous citizens in close proximity to each other, and those citizens are then returning to their various residences, there is a risk of contracting and spreading the virus. It is paramount that we take action to protect the public and do our part to help save lives. So now, she's absolutely right. Of course she's right. I agree with her. But on the other hand, he's also right to be concerned about his bills, because right now we have almost no protections in place for these people, right? And so this is the problem. This is a situation that the federal government has created with their inaction, their inability. You can call it an inability, but in really, they don't actually want to do this. They don't want to help the workers. They don't want to help the actual small businesses. And so that puts the position, of course, or puts people in the position of, hey, Len, look, I'd like to stay home and everything, but I got bills to pay. I got to work. I got to open up because nobody's helping me pay those bills. Like I can't afford to not do this. Right. And so you add into it a lot of the stay-at-home protesters who are angry because they've been temporarily inconvenienced. Those are, I think, the customers I was referring to earlier. And a lot of these people are not taking this seriously. They don't believe in the facts. They don't believe in the doctors and medical professionals that are warning against opening up too soon. And so here you have a willing customer base. You have a ton of demand. And so this guy's like, F it. I'm going to go cut some hair. What's the worst that could happen? Well, as I mentioned earlier in the story, there was another barber that literally did get COVID-19. So these people are defying these orders. They're becoming folk heroes, and then they're getting sick. But they're providing the quote-unquote proof that the governors of some of the states that have shut down to try to flatten the curve are being quote-unquote tyrannical. Now, I hate to say it, man, but this guy's going to get sick. Even in the photo, look at the photo. He's not even wearing the mask correctly. What's that going to do? And again, the mask doesn't protect you from getting sick. It protects you from spreading it, or protects everyone else from you, because you could spread it. You might be an asymptomatic carrier. It's best when both people wear masks and do social distancing. That cuts down transmission quite a bit. But here's the thing. This guy is probably going to get sick. And at 77, he's most at risk. I don't like that. I don't like that fact. I feel for the guy. But that's unfortunately what's going to happen. And this is how the virus spreads, by the way. 1 part ignorance, 2 parts government inaction. I mean, right now we've got 36 million people out of work. That means nobody's got money for bills, right? We've got no freeze on rents and mortgages. That would help out a lot, actually. Or any other kind of utility freeze. Unemployment benefits are taking sometimes weeks to get to people if you're even able to sign up. And that one $1,200 check, not enough. By the way, it was also massively means tested. And therefore, people who may be hurting now, well, they made more last year. And so, hey, look, you're not eligible for it. Sad day for you. And those who did get it are likely to have already spent it on rent. They've got nothing left. You have food bank demand that's up by 40%. Look, all of this could have been solved by not giving trillions of dollars to corporations, but instead directing it towards small businesses And, of course, you have to have a lot of rules to prevent these big corporations from coming in and scooping up that money to make sure that these small businesses actually get it. And a $2,000 a month UBI combined with rent and mortgage freezes. That's how we should do these things. And not only that, but aggressive testing and, of course, contact tracing. That's what we have to do. Instead, what we've done is create the very types of conditions that will lead to people being forced to go out, risk their lives, the lives of their family members, in order to try to make enough to survive. We have literally created the Hunger Games in this country. And unfortunately, it's not going to get any better, especially as, look, the states already open up too early. Coronavirus cases are already on the rise. We're going to see, we're not even done with the first wave. And it already looks like the second wave is about to crash on top of us. And yet, that Trump's done with it. He's like, over and done. No, we're not going to help anymore. Let's move on to Obamagate, whatever the hell that is. It's not going to get any better. No, as long as we have our criminal corporate government in charge. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know how I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent progressive media.